Welcome into Tiger Den Sports, the place you get live streams pretty much almost every day. LSU live streams, Saints live streams, Pelicans live streams, anything NBA, NFL, college sports related, you can find here on Tiger Den Sports. So y'all hit the subscribe button and like button wherever y'all watching. I know it started a little late, but I had to take care of something before I can go live. But today's show is all about the 2024 SEC scheduling for college football. And we're going to talk LSU schedule, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, and Oklahoma. Just a few schedules. I'm not going to go through every team in the SEC. That'd probably take a little bit too long. And we'll just go over the main games. But before we get into that, the SEC meetings happened about maybe a month or two ago. And they were supposed, I think they voted, and they were supposed to vote on if they was going to go to a 9-game conference schedule or keep it at 8 games. And they decided to go with the 8-game schedule, which now that you look at it kind of makes sense, because if they go to a 9-game schedule, it'd be very brutal, which for the SEC, they play a brutal schedule every year with 8 games. So if you go one more with 9, it would be very brutal. But for fans, it's really good because you got more home games. That's a lot better instead of all those cupcake games like a Southeastern or a Louisiana Tech coming into Tiger Stadium. I mean, they're going to lose, So with that being said, y'all let me know if y'all like the decision on the 8 conference game schedule for the SEC. And they're doing away with the East and West conferences. There's going to be just one SEC conference. Top 2 teams make the SEC championship. So there's no more East Conference winner, West Conference winner, and they play each other. It's the top 2 teams with the best record that gets to play an SEC championship. So with that being said, I guess we can start with LSU because that's what y'all came here for. So we can go over the LSU schedule. And because I am blind and I don't feel like using my phone to list the schedules, I have my wife sitting out here, and she's going to read me the schedule for me, whatever I need her to read. I think that's pretty sweet, huh? My wife out here reading that for me. If y'all think that's sweet, hit the like button and subscribe button for me. All right, baby. Read me the away games at.
All of the away games?
For LSU. At this.
Only LSU.
Yeah, only LSU.
So you got Arkansas, Florida, South Carolina, and Texas A&M.
So Arkansas, Florida, South Carolina, and Texas A&M. Not a bad away opponent. You know LSU, when they go to Arkansas, I believe they did lose last year against Arkansas, LSU did. But it was cold. It was icy. Jaden Daniels. What? My wife asked the question. Hold on. What?
No, I said it was snowing in Arkansas.
Not snowing, but it was rainy and icy. I think they said the ground was real icy and hard. So I know my wife don't watch football, so I don't mind the questions though. But anyway, Arkansas did beat LSU. I think it was like 13-10 or 17-13, if I remember correctly. Y'all, if y'all watching right now, y'all can leave a comment and let me know what the score was for sure. My wife will read me the comments and we'll interact. I'll answer all your questions. But I don't know if Daniels had his best game. I know Nussmeier, I think, played a lot in that game, if I'm not mistaken. And but LSU this year versus Arkansas, Daniels came back, and it's going to help LSU big time to play against Arkansas with Daniels. I mean, Daniels had a whole year under his belt this past year with LSU, learning the offense. He's a senior. He came back this year. Well, actually, let me tell you this. I'm actually wrong. I'm thinking about this year. Daniels, after this year, is going to the draft. So Nussmeier will be playing Arkansas next year. So hopefully, I'm still under the weather a little bit. So that was my mistake. Daniels isn't going to be playing against Arkansas next year. It's going to be Garrett Nussmeier that's going to be playing next year. And your quarterback room is going to be Garrett Nussmeier, who's going to be, I think, a redshirt junior next year, if I'm not mistaken. Then you got Colin Hurley coming in 2024 class. You still got Ricky Collins. So that would be your three quarterbacks on the roster. So I believe Nussmeier needs to get a little bit more playing time this year to get some more experience. But next year, I don't think LSU's going to have a problem beating Arkansas in Arkansas, the pig state, apparently. But, and then next you got South Carolina. Now, South Carolina, it doesn't, that team doesn't scare me, but Shane Beamer does have the team heading in the right direction. But South Carolina is going to have a new quarterback in next year, probably a freshman. They don't have as much talent as LSU does. So I don't see that being a hard win either, even though it's away at South Carolina. Now, when you get to Florida, you just never know if Billy Napier is going to be there next year. The way it's headed, I mean, they're not getting the top recruits. They're not playing very well last year under Billy Napier. So I don't know where they're trending right now, but Florida is not going to be. They have a new quarterback this year, I believe, but they're not the same team they used to be either. So I believe we can go. It's going to be a little tougher game, but I believe LSU can get that win in the swamp easy. Then you look at Texas A&M, and you don't even know if Jimbo Fisher is going to be at Texas A&M come next year in 2024, because I mean he ends the season 8-4. LSU shouldn't have lost to Texas A&M any year of the past couple years, but for some reason LSU kind of plays down to Texas A&M. The thing is with Texas A&M and the SEC schedule and Texas A&M and LSU is that they want to make this a rivalry game. But I don't look at it as a rivalry. I don't know about LSU fans or Texas A&M fans. I don't know if y'all watching here too. Y'all let me know in the comments. Do y'all think A&M and LSU are rivals? I mean, I don't think so. I think their rivalries are Alabama, Florida, and Auburn. If to tell you the truth, not Texas A&M. And so I think they can get 4 road wins right there. And then you look at it, this scheduling model. LSU doesn't play Mississippi State or Auburn. LSU, excuse me, but LSU, Auburn is a rivalry to LSU, I believe, in my opinion. Y'all let me know in the comments if y'all think Auburn and LSU's more of a rival than Texas A&M and LSU, because I believe it is. But SEC left Auburn and Mississippi State off the schedule. And I can do without Mississippi State, but Mississippi State is the team in the SEC that LSU has played the most since SEC started. I think they played each other 126 times. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all can look it up. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think it's in the 120s, something like that. So even Mississippi State's more of a rival than Texas A&M, even though Mississippi State doesn't have the best team. And then, so with that being said, I don't see the away games being a problem for LSU. And before I get to the home games, we're going to talk about the 2 games that's on the LSU schedule. That's a non-conference game. That's 2 big-time games. So let's say this. LSU's playing 8 SEC games. It's South Carolina, Texas A&M, Florida. Who was the other one? It's not on my head. My wife walked in the house for a second. Take a phone call. Texas A&M, Florida, South Carolina, and there was another one. Oh, Arkansas. That's the 4 away games. The 4 home games are, I believe, Alabama, Oklahoma, and there's 2 other ones. When my wife comes back, I'll tell her to read them, but I'll come back to it because it's slipping my head, and I'm blind. I can't read the stats, but let's just say the 2 teams that's non-conference right now. Let's talk about this first. USC and UCLA in 2024. USC is a neutral site game in Las Vegas. That's going to be September 1st, the first game of the year in 2024. And that's going to be a huge game. I believe that's going to be a top 10 matchup for sure. Lincoln Riley always has great offenses, but their defense sucks. Even though he went to USC, he still has no defense. He just took the Oklahoma team to Southern California. They play offense, no defense. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. But I think LSU pulls it off. But that's a neutral site game in Las Vegas. Y'all let me know in the comments if y'all plan on going to that game. I know it's 2024. I know it's a long ways away. But it's going to be a big-time game to think about. So that's one non-conference game. You all right, baby? Okay. And then they play UCLA as another non-conference game. I believe that's a home game. Okay, read me the home games for LSU.
Home games for LSU, you have
Alabama, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, and Vanderbilt. So let's get Vanderbilt out of the way. I'm kind of glad LSU gets Vanderbilt, the draw of Vanderbilt. Y'all know Vanderbilt's not beating LSU in Tiger Stadium. They suck. They're not going to get the talent. Clark Lee, I think, at least won four games last season. He coached at Notre Dame and he went to Vanderbilt as a head coach. So that's an automatic win for LSU. So if they win all 4 road games, which is Arkansas, Florida, Texas A&M, and South Carolina, that's 4 wins. You get 5 with Vanderbilt. Then your next games, Alabama, you get them at home, right?
Alabama's home.
Yeah, at 2024. Alabama's going to be playing probably a new quarterback in 2024. And we still got Garrett Nussmeier. It's going to be a battle, but I think LSU can pull it off. I think LSU's got Alabama's number now. They won last year. I think they broke the streak. So I believe they can win that game. That'd be 6 games right there. Now, I'm not saying the in order of games with the scheduling, but that's 6 wins right there. The Texas A&M game, you should win. Texas A&M has some talented players, but you got to realize that Jimbo Fisher is not a good coach. And he might not even be on the coaching Texas A&M next year if he goes 8-4 this coming year in 2023. So that would be 7 wins. And then the new teams that's entered the mix, Oklahoma and Texas, you get to play Oklahoma at home. And Oklahoma's not ready to be in the SEC, if I'm just being honest. Brent Venables' first year was last year, and they did not play very well. He does have good recruits going in, but I don't think he can turn Oklahoma around in just 2 or 3 years coming to the SEC. It's going to be a work in progress, and I believe it's going to be year 4 or 5 when Oklahoma actually starts making any noise in the SEC. So that would be 8 wins right there. That's 8. Now, that's not counting, I think it's Nichols and South Alabama in the non-conference that LSU plays, which are cupcakes. So that would give you 10 wins. So now you just got to worry about USC and UCLA. UCLA's at home, USC's in Las Vegas. Can you split those two? Can you beat UCLA at home and lose to USC in Las Vegas? I think they could get both wins and go undefeated in 2024. That's how confident I am. But even say they lose to Alabama and USC, that's only 2 losses. They still should be in the college playoff. I believe the college playoffs expand in 2024 as well to 12 teams. So even with 2 losses, excuse me, even with 2 losses, LSU should be in the college playoffs, even if they lose to USC and Alabama. So it's not that difficult of a schedule for LSU in 2024. So my prediction that LSU goes at least 10-2 or 11-1. And after the 2024 season, we'll come back to this show and see if my prediction was right. Y'all leave y'all predictions down below and let me know what y'all think after hearing the schedule for LSU. What y'all prediction is, how many wins, how many losses LSU would have after the 2024 season. I'm saying 10-2 or 11-1. I'm going to give you 2 different predictions right here. One's a safe pick and one's a bold pick, which is 11-1. So y'all leave me a comment down below. And I want to go to the Texas schedule because I want to see Texas Longhorns, because I want to see who Texas has on the schedule and see how they're going to do in SEC for the first year. So go ahead and read it to me.
For the Texas home game,
Tell me who's their aways.
the away games is Arkansas, A&M,
Arkansas, A&M,
and Vanderbilt.
and Vanderbilt. Only 3?
They have a neutral game.
Oh, who's the neutral?
The neutral game is Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Okay. And before I go into Texas, and that's one thing the SEC did good for the most part. They kept rivals. So Alabama stays playing Auburn, Auburn and Tennessee. LSU keeps Texas A&M. They add Oklahoma, and they play Ole Miss. Right? They do play Ole Miss, right? LSU. Go back to LSU schedule. I think I missed Ole Miss.
Yeah, they play Ole Miss in a home game.
Okay, I missed that one. So they beat Ole Miss too. They play Ole Miss at home too, LSU. I missed that game for some reason. But so LSU keeps their rivals pretty much. They LCC gave LSU Texas A&M and Ole Miss. They got rid of Mississippi State and Auburn, but they added Oklahoma as LSU's rival, I guess now. And we'll see how that works. But Texas and Oklahoma plays their Red River rivalry, and Texas has Texas A&M, who's a rival. So they kind of kept the rivals, to the most part, really good on the schedule. So I like that. So now let's get back to Texas schedule. So their away games are what again? Texas A&M. And what else?
A&M,
Arkansas, and Vanderbilt. Okay. So Texas beats Vanderbilt for sure. Vanderbilt has no shot. Vanderbilt might lose all their games. I didn't write their schedule down. I just want to see how hard it is. I didn't want to go over their schedule. Yeah, we might go over it last just to play around with it. But Texas plays Vanderbilt. That's a win. Very, very simple win. Texas A&M and Texas, that's going to be a huge game in Texas. Texas plays in College Station. So that's going to be a packed house for that game. But I believe Texas could come out with that win too. But you got to realize too, it depends on where where those teams are in the program, because Texas A&M could be losing Jimbo Fisher next year or at the end of the 2023 season. Texas is losing Quinn Ewers after this season. You have Arch Manning that might be starting in 2024, or I think Malik somebody. I forget his name on Texas. I don't keep up with Texas too often, but I heard that he's a good quarterback as well. So if Jimbo Fisher's not there, if you're breaking in a new quarterback next year, it could be a toss-up, but I think Texas can win. I think Texas can have a better team. Texas got all the money in the world. They just got to have a coach that can coach them up and let them play, especially with the NIL deals. So I think they can get the Texas A&M win. And Arkansas, I don't know. Arkansas is kind of a tough place to play, depending on what time of the year you play with in Arkansas. So I can see Texas losing that game. I think Arkansas played Texas last year and had them on the ropes. I think Texas won, but that was a rough game, tough game for them to win. So I can see Arkansas pulling that game out. But okay, who's Texas's home game?
Home games for
Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, and Mississippi State. So the Georgia game in Austin is going to be a recruiting frenzy. All the top recruits are going to be at that game. But I believe Georgia takes down Texas. It's how fast can Texas build their roster to compete in the SEC? That's the thing that people need to understand. Texas, while they're good, they're not great like the SEC teams are just yet. They have to build their roster up to SEC standards before they can compete week to week. I'm not saying they can't win 9 games in the regular season in the SEC schedules, but overall, I don't see them playing for championships until 4 or 5 years down the road, because they have to build their rosters up to the SEC standards. And but Georgia, they should take care of business in Texas, in Austin. Florida, that's a toss-up, because I really don't know how Florida's going to be playing with Billy Napier. And like I said, Texas got a new quarterback next year. That's kind of a toss-up. I can give that win to Texas. And who was the other teams? I did Florida and Georgia.
Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, and Mississippi State.
Kentucky and Mississippi State. Kentucky might beat Texas, to be honest with you. Mark Stoops always got Kentucky playing very well. They play hard. They play the ground and pound game. They want to beat you on the ground. They want to play physical. So I can see Kentucky upsetting Texas next year in 2024. Mississippi State, I think Texas can beat them. Zach Arnett is the new head coach there, with Mike Leach passing away last year. So we'll see how he is as a head coach. But I think Texas can pull that game out. And their neutral site game was Oklahoma, you said, right?
Yes.
And that's a toss-up game too. Last year, Oklahoma didn't have a chance. Texas is just way too good. They're way better than Oklahoma. Texas can get that win too. So overall, I think Texas can get at least 7 wins in SEC. And then we'll see what they do with their non-conference schedule. So that's the Texas schedule. Y'all let me know if y'all like the Texas schedule, what y'all think of it, and what y'all think their record's going to be in the SEC coming in the 2024 season. Let's go to the Oklahoma schedule.
Oklahoma, okay. Away game.
Yeah.
Auburn.
LSU. We talked about them.
Ole Miss.
And Missouri. Okay, let's start with Missouri. Oklahoma should have no trouble with Missouri. Eli Applewhite, I think his name is, the head coach for Missouri. He does have Missouri playing hard. They do score a lot of points in the SEC. They do get some wins here and there. So they're going to give Oklahoma a run for their money. But I don't think Missouri pulls it out. Oklahoma plays at Missouri, right? That's what I'm saying? Or at home. I forgot what I said. At Missouri. Okay. Yeah, you're right. So it's going to be a close game because it is in Missouri. Missouri puts up a lot of points, but so does Oklahoma. So I have to say that Oklahoma pulls that game out with a win. We already talked about LSU. So LSU gets that win. Who was the other two? Auburn and Ole Miss. Auburn has a new head coach in Hugh Freeze, and Ole Miss is going to put up a lot of points. I think Ole Miss beats Oklahoma in 2024 just because Lane Kiffin's a way better coach than Brent Venable. At least I believe so. Oklahoma don't have an SEC roster, and I don't think Oklahoma has enough to compete with Ole Miss. Now, Auburn, on the other hand, Hugh Freeze is a great offensive-minded coach. We'll see what they does in 2023 and the 2024 season. But I could see that being a toss-up. I could see Oklahoma beating Auburn in the 2024 season. But that's a toss-up game too. But that's what I'm going to say right now. Auburn can lose that game to Oklahoma. Who's Oklahoma's at home?
Oklahoma's home is
Alabama, South Carolina,
Tennessee.
and Tennessee.
They do have a neutral game.
Yeah, they got a neutral game with Texas. Yeah, we kind of talked about that one already. But the Alabama game, Oklahoma has no shot. Alabama's going to crush Oklahoma. They don't have the talent. You got to remember, Oklahoma and Texas is coming into the Big Ten. I mean, they're coming from the Big 12. My bad. And they're a finesse league. They like to throw the ball around the ballpark and put up points. And they're not a physical team coming from the Big 12. If you don't get physical players and fast players on your team, there's no way you're competing with the Alabamas and LSUs and Tennessees and those type and Georgias. There's just no way. Alabama crushes Oklahoma. Then you talk about Tennessee playing at Oklahoma. Tennessee's gonna outscore Oklahoma probably by 20 points because that's how talented their offense is. Now Tennessee's defense isn't that great, but Oklahoma won't be able to stop them because they don't have SEC players on their defense just yet. And that's going to take a few years to get SEC players on their teams. So Tennessee and Alabama crush Oklahoma. And who was the last team?
Tennessee, South Carolina.
Oh, South Carolina. My bad. See how hard it is to remember all these teams? Yeah, so now they play South Carolina. I believe that Oklahoma can get the win versus South Carolina. Shane Beamer actually came from Oklahoma as the coach there on offense to be the head coach at South Carolina. So that's going to be a big-time matchup for him. But I believe Oklahoma and South Carolina is matched up very well. And Oklahoma's at home in this game, so I think they pull it off. The thing I like about this scheduling and adding Oklahoma and Texas is because these teams get to go play at a different venue than they usually do. Like LSU Oklahoma's coming to LSU, but Oklahoma fans really never come to LSU. I don't think they played at each other's stadium ever, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think Oklahoma came to LSU. LSU didn't go to Oklahoma. So I like that they play at different venues. One thing I wish that would happen is Texas came play at LSU, only because LSU played in Texas a couple years ago, and Texas never returned the favor yet. And next year, I believe Texas is going to be on LSU's schedule. I just hope LSU don't have to go play in Texas again without Texas coming to LSU first. But I do like going to different venues in that area, that aspect of it. So I would say Oklahoma might get 4 or 5 wins in the SEC this year. Not much. They still make a bowl game, but that's all I can see. So y'all let me know in the comments below what y'all think Oklahoma's record's going to be. Because I'm going to say, I really don't know what their record's going to be. So overall, I can say maybe 7-5, 8-4 at the most. So y'all let me know what they think. What you think they could be? I think I don't think I gave my prediction for Texas, but I think Texas can be 9-3, 8-4, something right there around along those lines. So y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think their records are going to be. I'm not going through the whole SEC scheduling for every team, but we just go through a few just to see how the scheduling is. Should I go over Alabama's scheduling? Yeah, let's go over Alabama. Even though I hate Alabama and I'm an LSU guy, but I'll go over them real quick. Who's their away?
Oklahoma,
They play Oklahoma. We talked about that team.
LSU,
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee,
LSU, Tennessee,
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt. That's their away games. Yeah. So we already talked about LSU. LSU gets the win. We already talked about Oklahoma. Alabama crushes Oklahoma. The Tennessee game, Tennessee had Alabama on the ropes last year, but could not pull it off. Alabama beat Tennessee, I think, by 2 points, if I'm not mistaken. So I think in 2024, that's the year Tennessee beats Alabama. They get an upset win right there because Josh Heupel, believe it or not, has Tennessee headed in the right direction. They're getting top recruits. NIL's playing a big part in this, and he's a great offensive-minded coach. So I think Tennessee can pull off the upset win versus Alabama. And who's the other? Vanderbilt? Yeah. I believe they play Vanderbilt away. And Vanderbilt has no shot. I think Vanderbilt has a tough home schedule. I think they play Georgia, Texas A&M, and Alabama in Vandy. But Alabama is going to crush Vandy, like I said. LSU is going to beat Alabama. Was that? Well, people are catching up to Alabama. My wife's asking, who does Alabama not beat? Well, Alabama, believe it or not, is coming down to earth with this NIL deal, the NIL stuff. Other teams, Nick Saban been cheating his whole career. But college football, NCAA did nothing about it because he's the face of the coaching in college football. He could do nothing wrong. Alabama fans don't want to hear that. College football fans don't want to hear that. But he's been cheating, paying players under the table for a long time. Other coaches do the same thing. But LSU coaches done it. But not to the extent Nick Saban did it and got away with it. If other schools do it, NCAA wants to investigate them, but not Nick Saban. So now that NIL's here and you can do it any way you want, these teams are catching up with Nick Saban, and he don't like it because now he's not getting all the top 5-star recruits all every year because there's no playing time over there because he's built it up so deep. So now these 5-star players that can get NIL deals somewhere else and get playing time, they're gone. So that's why I say Alabama's going to have probably 3 losses come 2024 season. They're going to lose to Tennessee. They're going to lose to LSU. Yeah. My wife said LSU don't have to cheat, which is good. But anyway, okay, who else they play? That was their away, huh?
Yeah, their home games are Auburn, Georgia, Missouri, and South Carolina.
Okay, their home is Georgia, Auburn, Missouri, right? And South Carolina. They get the Missouri win easy. That's no competition. South Carolina, Alabama beats easy. Now Georgia coming in to play Alabama, it's going to be a tight game, put it that way. But Georgia gets the win. They're two great teams, but Kirby Smart at this point in his career is a better coach than Nick Saban. And Kirby Smart's getting more talented players than Nick Saban has in years past. So Georgia gets the win against Alabama there. Who was the last team? Missouri, South Carolina. Oh, Auburn. And Alabama beats Auburn again with Hugh Freeze as the helm. Now, Hugh Freeze did beat Nick Saban a few times when he was at Ole Miss. But I don't think he gets to win this early in SEC. He got to build that Auburn roster up because a lot of people left, and he got a lot of recruiting to do there. So with that being said, I think Alabama has 3 losses in 2024. Y'all let me know in the comments, how many losses does Alabama have with the scheduling they did? Do they have any neutral site games? No neutral site games. See, that's one bad thing about Alabama and Nick Saban. He don't play neutral site games. You come into my home and that's it. Which I don't. Y'all, let's talk about this for a second. We did talk about scheduling, but let's talk about neutral site games. As fans, do y'all like neutral site games? Yes or no? It gives the teams different venues to play in. Like LSU's going to play in Las Vegas against USC. LSU's playing Florida State in 2023 in Orlando. So do y'all like different venues like that, or would y'all rather schools schedule a home and home to have an extra big time home game to go watch? Y'all just let me know yes or no in the comments. I'm on the verge of saying that I like the neutral site games. I like the different venues. I don't get to go to the games being blind and stuff like that, but I do like neutral site games. I do like that they get to play in different venues like that. So with that being said, I talked about a lot of scheduling here. I don't know if I guess I could go over the last schedule I'll probably go over is the Georgia schedule. And I know this is an LSU channel, but we could talk a little. What? my wife's fussing at me. She said, I wrote all this down and you're not going to read them all? Well, how many minutes we going on right now? 37 minutes. I don't even know if people's watching. I don't know if they want to hear other than LSU. That's why I did LSU first, so they could click off if they wanted to. But if y'all still here watching and just listening to all the schedules revealed, y'all make sure you hit the subscribe button, like button, so y'all don't miss any uploads that I have, any live streams. I do all live streams. I'm calling games, play-by-play games, and I do stuff like this. Huh? That's true. I guess I should let y'all know this now while I'm talking. LSU baseball does have a game Saturday at 6 in Omaha. I was supposed to be calling that game, but we're doing Father's Day for my dad Saturday around 4 or 5, so I'm not calling the game. But I will be tweeting out the play-by-play and updates like that on my Twitter, so y'all can follow me at Tiger Den Sports for that. But I will do a post-game show after the game. So y'all make sure you hit the notification bell, subscribe up to the channel so y'all don't miss when that happens. Thank you, wife. I got such a sweet wife. Sometimes, that's right. But this is LSU football live stream schedule reveal for SEC. So let's see. Let's go over the Georgia schedule. Wait, before that, do I have any comments? No comments. Okay. All right.
Okay, so Georgia, you're gonna have away games, Alabama.
Georgia plays Alabama away. Kentucky. Ole Miss. And Texas.
They also have a neutral game.
Who's
with
that?
Florida.
And their neutral site game with Florida. Does it say where their neutral site's at?
I didn't see it.
Okay. If you feel like looking it up, you can. Where is Georgia and Florida playing in 2024? It should tell you. I think they usually play in like Tallahassee or something like that, or something like that. But anyway, that should be an undefeated schedule right there. Georgia's gonna beat Kentucky. Georgia's gonna beat Florida. Georgia's gonna beat Texas. And there's one other one. I forget who it is. South Carolina? No.
Georgia,
Ole Miss.
Texas, Alabama,
Kentucky. Yeah. Okay, Ole Miss. That should be undefeated 4-0 right there. Georgia got an easy schedule so far, the way it looks. Now I do know Stetson Bennett went to the draft, so they're breaking in a new quarterback, but they get number 1 recruit quarterbacks to go play at Georgia. So I don't see Georgia having any issue, though. They're just too talented, too deep, especially on the defensive line, the running backs. I mean, they're all over the place. They got athletes everywhere. Did you find?
Yeah.
Did you find it?
Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida. Okay. So Georgia and Florida play neutral site game in Jacksonville, Florida, which is probably in between Georgia and Florida, probably a couple hours each way. So not a bad venue to play in. But that's an undefeated schedule right there. That's the away games. Who they play at home?
Home is Auburn, Mississippi State, and Tennessee.
Auburn, Mississippi State, and Tennessee. So they beat Auburn very easily. They beat Tennessee and who else?
Auburn, Tennessee,
Mississippi State. They beat Mississippi State handily. Mississippi State just doesn't have the Bulldogs. That's funny. I mean, that's funny. I don't want to say they didn't have the horses because they're a Bulldog. Mississippi State Bulldog. That's why it's so funny. Y'all let me know if that was funny. I thought that was funny.
I got the joke. I just didn't think it was that funny.
But my wife didn't think it was funny. That's not right. Hit the like button if y'all thought it was funny. But Mississippi State just doesn't have the talent to compete with Georgia. Now, when it comes to Tennessee, I think Tennessee is going to upset Georgia here too. So in 2024, Tennessee is going to upset Georgia and Alabama in the same season. Josh Heupel, like I said, has something building there, and Tennessee is going to be a scary team to play because of their offense. They're going to put almost 40 points up a game, and you have to be able to keep up with them with their offense. And Georgia is not a team to score. They probably not even score 30 points a game. Georgia likes to run the ball, play defense, and win that way. They're going to probably score 24, maybe 27 points a game. If Tennessee goes into Georgia and can put up 37 to 40 points, Georgia lost. So I believe the only loss of this season of 2024, Georgia only is going to have one loss. That Georgia's going to have one loss in 2024, and it's by Tennessee. So y'all let me know in the comments, if you're watching, how many losses y'all think Georgia is going to have. I think Georgia is going to only have one loss. My wife is writing all this down to see if I'm right about all this in 2024. But we could just pull the video back up. I'm probably going to clip some shorts out of this too. Hey, I'm good at these predictions. I know I'm good. Yes. They don't call me the blind tiger for nothing. So I think that's all the schedules I'm gonna do today. What other schedules you had written down? Arkansas, Florida. Let's go over the Tennessee schedule before I end it. And that's the last one.
Tennessee has away games with Arkansas.
They play away Arkansas, Georgia, Oklahoma, and Vanderbilt.
And then their home games are Alabama.
And their home games are Alabama, Florida, Kentucky, and Mississippi State. I'm not going to go through each of those games, but Tennessee is going to have at least, I'm going to say 10 wins in that season. And they'll probably make the college football playoff because it's expanded to 12 teams. I would predict in Tennessee, if they upset Georgia and Alabama in 2024, they're going to have at least 10 wins in that season, and they're going to make the college football playoff. So y'all let me know what y'all think. How many wins will Tennessee have in 2024? I'm going to say at least 10. So y'all let me know in the comments. I'm not going through their whole schedule because this isn't a Tennessee channel. But I want to cover a few schedules so y'all can see how the scheduling is. And scheduling might change after the 2024 season. We'll see. They might revote for the 9-game SEC schedule and things like that. So I think we're coming up to about 45 minutes now.
Exactly.
The Blind Tigers did it again.
Oh.
My wife's so impressed. She's smiling at me.
No.
So I appreciate everybody watching. I hope y'all like the LSU content I'm putting out. Y'all subscribe up to the Tiger Den Sports channel and hit the like button and also turn on notification bell so y'all don't miss the next time I go live.